More than 80,000 people are expected in the nation's capital today. That is more than double last year. Of course, tenth of thousands will go to cenotaphs right across this country. You would think in a year when Canada is at war, and obviously with the death of 2 soldiers killed in terror attacks, Canadians would be frightened off. And if that's what their goal was, where they're going to be sadly mistaken, because Canadians are united and clearly trying to send a message this Remembrance Day. Let's bring in Simon Kent, who joins us this morning in, of course, the UK. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you.
And I know that Remembrance Day ceremony is obviously wrapped up in your world, but of course just about to get underway here. Her Royal Highness Princess Anne here in Ottawa. She'll be laying a wreath, so we've got some royal blood within our midst in what I think will be an extraordinarily emotional ceremony today.
It will be emotional. Let me tell you and your viewers this. Just a few short hours ago at 11 o'clock in the morning here in London, I was at Marylebone Station. I was on my way to a meeting. Just before 11 o'clock, they made an announcement at the station that they're going to ask for silence and everyone to stop and be still. And they did that. Marylebone Station, 11 o'clock in the morning, everyone stopped what they were doing. There was total silence for 2 minutes from 11 o'clock to 11:02. Then everyone else went back and got on their way. I dare say that'll be happening right across Canada today. And the fact that the Princess Royal, Princess Anne, is there as well is hugely symbolic. And you mentioned before the tragedies that Canada has experienced just quite recently. I don't see Canadians being scared off, because I don't see Canadians as being people who are scared of anything.
Yeah, no, but it's nice to see that, you know, the resolve is still there. And I hope nothing happens today, and I assume nothing will happen. I mean, it's quite a chore or task that they've got, ahead of them. The security on the Hill, I know, is at an all-time high. They don't want to scare people having too much police presence, but you can bet they have to have it and will have it in full force.
They will have it, but I think it'll be done in a very Canadian way. Canada is not a militaristic country. You won't see weapons and armoured personnel carriers in every corner, but you will see respect for the dead and those who paid the ultimate price in battle from the First World War and up to more recently, sadly, when we've seen those terrible events in Canada. They'll be remembered. And even the simple process of naming those 2 combat bases in the Middle East after 2 of the most recent fallen men in uniform is something as well. It speaks to the heart of Canada. It speaks to the country that does have a big heart. As I said, Canada is not militaristic, but you don't push Canada into a corner and expect them not to come back at you and fight for all the things they believe in.
Yeah, of course, you're mentioning the 2 Kuwait bases, which have been named in honor of both Corporal Sorello and Warrant Patrice Vesson, which I think is a very, it's a perfect tribute to both of these men who were killed by terrorists in the last couple of weeks. But nonetheless, you know, there's a couple of tributes taking place. A couple of plaques will be unveiled at the war memorial at the Boer War, Afghanistan, among 2 of those plaques that will be unveiled. But nonetheless, I think if ever there were being a message sent today, we will see it at 11 o'clock.
Yes, you sure will. And I can say personally, I've seen Canadian troops in 2 vastly different parts in the world. One was in Mozambique, and the other time, would you believe, in Cambodia, when they were working based there in Phnom Penh. Always hugely well-regarded Canadians. And you've seen Canadians everywhere, from East Timor to Afghanistan. They were in Europe in the 1990s. Before that, they were part of the Army on the Rhine. Canadians were everywhere and hugely respected. And we were talking before about the Princess Royal, Princess Anne. The royals have a huge regard for Canada. Never underestimate that. The British royal family visits Canada more times than any other Commonwealth country on the planet, more times than other like-minded cousin nations like Australia, New Zealand, India, the West Indies. Canada has always been number 1 for the royal family, and that's why the Princess Royal is there to pay her regards and say to Canada, you're not alone in the Commonwealth of Nations. And Canada suffered hugely in the First World War, as she did in the Second World War. There's a lot to remember today, and remember, it's solemn remembrance. There's no celebration of war here. Anyone that says that is clearly deluded. It's not celebration, it's solemn remembrance.
Yeah, but you know, as I do, that this has been Remembrance Day. We still fight the agenda of those who want to hijack the day and make it a political day, and that's not what it's about. And I think that message is starting to get through. We've had record poppy sales. They've sold out across this country, which is great to see. And if this is the legacy of two soldiers, killed in uniform, then hats off to them, because if this has inspired people to come out and learn a little bit about our history, then that's a wonderful legacy to carry.
And what a history it is too. What a history and what a role Canada has played in making this world a better place. There's so much to recall and so much to respect, but ultimately it's down to people, men and women, who died in the name of freedom, who fought for Canada on foreign fields and never came home, but are buried somewhere. And there's so many places in the world, sadly, you can go to, from Hong Kong, as I said before, to those awfully moving cemeteries in Belgium and France where Canadians fell in the First and Second World War. You can go right back to other wars in Africa. Canadians have been everywhere. There's so much to recall and there's so much to salute in the name of service.
Yes, indeed, you are correct. And I thank you so much for joining us today on your Remembrance Day as well, Simon. Thanks.